So this is the Q&A for March, questions and answers. I've got quite a few questions. I think I got as many as 11. Now the reason why it's a little bit late this time, guys, is because some of the questions I just can't answer really. I will try and answer them, but I was hanging out for a professional guy, because I always say, if you're looking for proper legal advice or information about taxes and things like that, I'm not the guy to ask. But what I do like about doing this is I don't know everything. I just hear stories from other people or what I've learnt. But you guys out there, if I can't answer it, please add it below, because it helps us all. And this is why people watch these types of videos, because they're trying to find out a bit of information. Because I try and explain that Spain's different in different regions. Each region, I think there's 11 of them, is like their own little governments, and it is so difficult to try and get that sort of information, because you can't, if you buy a book, the book's going to be general, it's going to cover the whole of Spain, but Spain doesn't work doesn't work to the general rules. Anyway, let's get straight into it. So my first question is from Kev. Now Kev's saying, hi Sean, imagine you have 2 wishes from a genie. That would be amazing. You can make sure one thing you loved about Camposol. Wherever it goes away and one thing you don't like is fixed or removed, what would these things be? Now I'll be honest, Kev, I read this over about 5 times. I think I've got it. So one thing that I would like to be fixed, what would I like to be fixed? I mean, yeah, I suppose the main thing here on Camposol, Camposol was never finished, you know, by the construction company Massa. During that period, they ran out of money, and some of the places weren't fixed. Now I'm talking about the roads, some of the street lighting. Obviously here on the parks weren't finished. So yeah, if they could finish all that, that would be fantastic. Big job for a genie, I must say. And the other thing is, what would I like to be removed from here? I can't say there's anything that I would like to be removed here. Everything's here. Everything that I'd love's here. Removed. Be honest, Kev, I just wouldn't ask that question to the genie. Yeah, fixing it, no problem. Removing something, I suppose the only thing which I have noticed a lot, not just on Camposol but around Spain generally, is the graffiti. And I noticed on the RM3, the road that goes through Camposol, the main road, on the edges there is graffiti. Thankfully it hasn't really got on the Camposol, but that, yeah, maybe get that removed. But I would like that to be removed all over really. I mean, I love the street art here in Spain. They do some fantastic memorials on the walls and that, but the tagging, load of rubbish. And I just don't understand it, because those spray tins are not cheap. Anyway, Kev, good question. Hopefully that's answered it. Anyway, let's do number 2. Yogi. Yogi's asked me a few questions. Now this question here, I was waiting to get some response from somebody a bit more professional, but unfortunately he can't help me out this time. But anyway, I'll read it anyway. Hi Sean, I understand the Spanish government has now released details of the digital Nomad visa. What are the benefits of the visa over the non-lucrative, and who does it apply to? How easy it's to, I mean, it's quite a few questions here, Yogi. How easy it's to apply for, and is it available, or is it only available in certain parts of Spain? Well, what I can say is, as from December of last year, the Spanish government have approved the Nomad visas. After that, I'm not really clear on. I can't believe there's so many videos out there about applying for the digital Nomad visa. There's so many videos out there, guys, but They do seem to say different things, and I still think it's not that clear really. I think one of the benefits that I had seen is the tax. There's a bit of a tax incentive there, but you still got to have so much money in your savings account. But you can move. It can be anywhere in Spain now. I think when they first talking about it, they only had certain areas that you could do it, but it sounds like you can do it. And the other benefit is you can actually do it here in Spain. So obviously, because you got 90 days, you can apply for the application here. Obviously, you've got to pay for it all. You've got to get health insurance. You've got to have a criminal record check. I think the other thing that they do make quite sure of is that the work that you've got to sort of show that to the officials about you've been working for this company for a couple of years. You obviously got to have proof. So yeah, I mean, it's, from what I can see, the tax thing. I mean, to be honest, don't even ask me about how much tax you would have to pay anyway. But they say that there's some tax incentives there. And I think the other thing was as well, it come up. Checking through all the videos was you don't have to declare what your earnings are back in the UK or wherever, which is a good outfit. So that, if you compare that to non-lucrative, obviously with a non-lucrative visa you can't work. You also got to declare your savings back in the UK. So if you got out, if you've got a couple of flats, if you're a rich person and you're renting out loads of flats, you don't have to declare any of that. But if you've got a non-lucrative, you have to declare all that. I mean, the other thing is as well, with all these visas, you can apply for a visa, and once you get accepted, halfway through, because you've got like a 5-year period to become a resident on about, you can change it. Now, obviously, with the digital nomad visa, you got like a period of 3 years that you can do, and obviously after that you can renew it, or you could change it for a non-lucrative, but you wouldn't, would you really? Because a non-lucrative, obviously for you can't work. So watch the videos, Yogi. I wish I could give you more information on that, but I just haven't got that information. And to be quite honest, when you do look it up on the the network, it is pretty complicated. But obviously, I think because it's still quite new, I think as the year goes on, I'm sure we'll be hearing a lot more about the digital nomad visa. So hopefully, it's made it a little bit clear for you, Yogi, because I know you're one of those guys that might actually do the digital nomad, coming over for a short period and going back. Anyway, so on to number 3 from Elaine. Hi Sean, health insurance. Where, when, how much, etc. for people like me and my husband who wants to retire to Spain 6 years before pension age. Okay, another one I can't really give you a full answer on, Elaine, mainly because obviously your age would take it. We're talking in your 60s, and you got to have probably no sort of major problems. I'm talking about maybe you've had a cancer problem, or you've had some sort of heart problem maybe. Obviously the health insurance companies will tell you virtually straight away. Now there's people up sticks, you could tell them, and it's a bit like a criteria of tick boxes that you would go through. You tell them and they would tell you straight away, is it worth you applying for a non-lucrative visa, or even if you want to spend out a lot of money, the golden visa, because you still have to go through all these things. Now the health insurance is obviously it's what you can afford really. Now if you notice recently, I'm being supported by ASSSA. Now ASSSA just deals with health insurance, and what I did like about when I was chatting to the girls there was that once you're on the system, if you want to check for appointments, or you're making appointments, you can go through these guys, and because they can speak the language here. I mean, this is one of the major problems, obviously, with health, that when you go to the main hospital, you're going to need a translator. If you can speak Spanish, fantastic. But if you can't just say, oh, I use my Google Translate. You need a proper translator because they're not going to connect with you guys. But your private health insurance, there's loads out there. And obviously it's one of the things you have to apply for when you're applying for your visa as well. Some of them, most of them will say that they've been approved for the visa. Prices will depend, like I said, about your health problems. If you've got any health problems, if you've got no health problems, I mean, I can only give you what we paid when we come over to Spain. So we were sort of in our early 60s. So we're talking about 7 years ago. So obviously prices have changed, but I think we was paying offhand. It's about €200 a month, so it's €100 each, which, you know, coming out of your monthly fees, it's 200 out of our fees. But once you become a resident, and obviously on the visa, it's going to take you 5 years anyway. So probably by then you'll probably be into pension age, where you can apply for the Spanish health system on the S1. Now, this is the hard, with this Brexit, it's made things so much more difficult, guys, for people moving from outside the EU now, because you have to be a resident. I mean, once you become a resident, you can apply for the Spanish health system, and you can pay, I think it's like €65 a month each, which is, you know, it's not bad. So yeah, that doesn't make it any easier. You just have to check on the health insurance sites. Hopefully they can give you a quote. I think we didn't have to worry about it until we moved there, and we actually went down to the office, and he come off with some numbers, and we agreed it that way. I don't know what it's like online. Maybe they don't give you that information, I don't know. So Elaine, not much help there, but hopefully other people can give you advice as well. Number 4 from Dave: Are there any Spanish classes available in the area, and are tomatoes worth more than gold? Spanish, yes, I can say straight away. I'm on A, and I know twice a week on A, I think it's in Cats or Towels. There's a guy there who speaks very good Spanish. He's an English guy. He's got sports cards. He must be doing well out of it. And he teaches Spanish. And I know in the area there are many other places that do Spanish lessons. I think you can actually get somebody to do like a one-to-one, which I do think is much better. I think when you're in a class, you can get a little bit distracted, because some people are a lot faster than others, especially when they're trying to pick up pronunciations, and I'm the worst for that. But Dave, yes, there are Spanish lessons here, and you ain't got to rely on your Google Translate. Price of tomatoes. Here, now, you won't be able to exchange tomatoes here for a gold bar, say, back in the UK. But you never know. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised that you could probably get a tomato that is coloured gold, because I'm amazed that you can get different sorts of tomatoes and potatoes, different colours. But be amazed if it's gold. But yeah, tomatoes here, 2 a penny, Dave, 2 a penny. Number 5. Now I've got this my scruffy writing here. It looks like Les. If it's not Les, I'm sorry, because I'm reading this off. I have a pacemaker and heart failure. My pacemaker needs checking or programming every year. I'm almost 71. Would this service be available at the local hospital, or would it likely have? Would I likely have to travel? Plus, as I'm retired, would it be part of the Spanish health service or private? Good question, that, Les. Another one I can't really answer that really. But what I would say is, once you're on the Spanish health system, our main hospital, if you say, for instance, you've come to Camposol or the Country Club or the Condado, that your main hospital would be at Cartagena. Now they've got the big main hospital, and I would imagine, to be quite honest, they would be able to do that. I wouldn't have thought, you would have to travel like up to Madrid or anything like that. I would imagine they. But what's good to know here on Camposol, at the moment they're building a private hospital not far from me, just down the road. And I've been told that they're going to have quite a lot of the facilities there that you would probably find at the main hospital. Obviously it's going to be private, but I do know that they are sort of integrating with the Spanish health system and the private health system as well. So I wouldn't have thought you got to worry too much. I mean, my only concern is about we'd be able to get private health insurance. But if you check that out, that's no problem. I'll be honest, I can't really say a lot about this because I don't know anybody that's got a health, a pacemaker. But obviously there must be people that's got it. So there's not much out there, am I really? But hopefully somebody out there who's probably got the same sort of problem would put a comment below. That'd be great, guys. Right, number 6. On a serious note, I've heard the new 3-year visa that stops you having to have your passport stamped, that was supposed to be happening this year, has been put back. What have you heard? I've heard nothing. Now, I don't know what this 3-year visa is, because you don't really say what the visa is. But honestly, you will have, because you're going through the system, I mean, you obviously will, let's get this right, because it's so difficult for me, because I don't deal with the I haven't got a visa, and I don't really know the full structure of it. But I take it if you, on a non-lucrative visa, you're already a resident. So, just going back to Elaine, which is question 3, because I've just cottoned on there. But once you become a resident, you might be able, I can't say 100%, but you might be able to apply for the Spanish health system. I'm not too sure, because you're not a fully fledged resident until you lived here in Spain for 5 years. So something else, somebody out there that knows more than me, probably a lot more than me, they might be able to apply for the Spanish health system, but you have to be a resident first. But going back to Carrie's thing, even I've come up to, when I'm crossing back into Spain or vice versa, the border people, obviously they do it day in, day out, and sometimes even though you tell them I'm a resident, they still stamp your passport. Now, yeah, officially, if you're a resident, they shouldn't stamp you. It doesn't matter really, because what it's all about is the 90-day thing. So I haven't heard nothing at all about that. So all I can say is, if you show me your resident card, your TIE card with your passport, they usually wave you through. But I know, and I've had it myself, you just don't argue with them. You sort of say them and they just give you a grunt and still stamp your passport. Doesn't matter, guys, because you're already in the system. So hope that's some help to you, Carrie. Number 7, Elaine. As we will be retiring 6 years early and living on our savings, will they be taxed on? Another one I can't really tell you about, because obviously taxes are more for like solicitors or people that deal with those sort of things. It depends on your savings. Obviously you got to have so much to apply for your visa, but if you got a huge amount, I don't know. I can't say. I think if you can have 50,000. That's the last time I heard. If you got 50,000 each, you shouldn't be taxed. Anything over it, you're going to be taxed on. What the tax rate is, I can't answer that as well, because I don't know. I don't want to sort of say, oh yeah, I looked it up on the internet and it's that figure. So anybody else that's going through, you know, that's got a visa, and maybe they've got to pay taxes on, please help Elaine out on that. I am, yeah, if you've got so much money, especially if you've got property back in the UK that you rent out, you will be taxed on it, guys. So when you're applying for all these visas, whoever you use, and like I've mentioned before, up sticks, they should be able to tell you all that sort of information. So, number 8. Carrie, just out of interest, what is the price of a tin of Heinz baked beans? Now, what I can do, Carrie, on that one, that is what I can do. I can put an image there. Now, off my head, I think when I went in there the other day, it was $1.27 for a Heinz baked beans, which to me is a bit of a rip-off, but that's what it is. I think last year I was in Consum and I actually took a photograph of that because they were selling them for 80 cents. But prices have gone up. But what I have noticed, that Branston baked beans is cheaper by about 10 cents. So shop around, Carrie. You might get a bargain. It might be cheap if you buy 4 tins. One thing here in Spain, they don't seem to do what they do back in the UK. You know, if you buy one, get one free, or if you buy a huge pack, you get a bit of a discount. So anybody out there can beat 127 for a price of baked. Oh, we're talking Spain, not anywhere else. You know, like the Antarctic or something like that. Yeah, put it below. Number 9. Adrian, why are so many selling up and going home? Are the deeds legal now? Will the council ever get around to doing the works on your obligation? So Adrian's on about, obviously, Camposol. The turnover in property is always ongoing. Wherever you look, there's always, I mean, put it this way, if you put a place up for sale, sometimes even before they even put up, it's sold. So it's a huge turnover. I mean, property in Spain, I think one of the main things that what I love about this part of Spain is the price of property is far lower than it would be down, especially on the coast, or if you go up past Alicante way. Price of property is so expensive. But here, there's so much, and they're still building. This is what I never understand. There's places around here that's not still been fully housed, and they're still building. But yeah, I mean, you know, I mean, we got 6 estate agents on Camposol. I think we even got probably more that were sort of online, and that just shows you the amount of. I mean, we're talking probably 5,000 to 7,000 properties here on the Camposol complex. So there's always going to be a huge turnaround. So it's not like everybody's selling up and going back. I mean, we got a huge amount of people now coming from sort of North Europe now, talking about the Belgians and the Germans and the French. They're all buying up properties around here now. So going back to the deeds, is it all legal now? I mean, this is like what I've always tried to tell people. You got to come here first and have a look. Make sure that you love living here. Most people will suggest renting, and I suggest renting as well. Yeah, when you get yourself a good solicitor, you're not going to buy a property, guys. You're not going to go in a bar one night and somebody overhears you in conversation. Oh, because that's happened to me. A couple of weeks ago, I was, I'm not going to mention the place, but I was with Yogi, and she, oh yeah, I've got a friend of mine who's selling his apartment. Yeah, don't do that sort of thing. Do it properly, go for an agent. Yeah, okay, you could do it online, but just go for an agent, make sure they're kosher, check them out, and do it that way. They're not going to be selling the property that hasn't got the right documentation, because at the end of the day, it's going to cost them money. Because if you find out that they haven't got an escritor, and that's the deeds, then you could pull out and actually sue them. But don't do it privately, because I've known people to do that. And will the council ever finish? I mean, I'm not you're on about. At the moment, there's been a bit of a hoo-ha the past year or so about community fee. It's been, ever since I've been here, this community fee, I mean, we don't pay a community fee on Camposol because it was never set up properly. So it was never never happened. Now the council obviously are pushing for us to pay a community fee, but here in Spain, things take ages, guys. It's not like, I expect the UK is no different, to be honest. It takes yonks, you know, they have these meetings. I mean, the last meeting, the mayor didn't bother turning up for about half an hour because he knows we're probably talking another 20 years or more before, if it ever gets to that. So, will it ever get done? Probably not. But things are happening, you know. Supposedly, was I think from D to B, they're retarmacking the main road. That's been going on for 2 years now. It probably will happen. We're just having a new dog park built. Obviously, we've got the new hospital being built, which is nearly finished now, which is good to see. We've got a play park that was built last year. So there are things going on. Spain's nothing like anywhere else. That's what I love about Spain. Spain's sort of in a slow process. It will take its time. I'll be amazed if the council will ever finish it off. It'd be nice if it is, but I would say not yet. Watch this space, as they say. So hopefully, Adrian, that sort. But like I've always said to everybody that's been looking at the price of property on campus, because it's cheap. It's too cheap to other places. You got to come here and have a look. It's no good just watching the videos or reading the comments and things like that. You've got to come here yourself and make sure it's for you. So, my next question is from John, number 10. My question is, what month does it start to get heat up, and what month does it start to go cool down? Good question, that, John. One, I've tried to explain it over the years. It's like somebody turning the light switch on. 1 minute it's at the moment it's still pretty cool, even though the temperatures have been sort of hovering on about 20 to 25, which is amazing for March. I'm still not in my shorts yet. I see a lot of tourist people coming over on holiday in their t-shirts and shorts, because obviously I'm acclimatised to this weather, and they're not, to them it's amazing. It's so warm, and they're sunbathing and things like that. But I would say when it starts heating up, you know about it. But I would say you're probably talking about end of April. That's when the switch flicks. And then probably about, I would say, sort of late October, especially in the evenings, the temperature will drop. But I would say sort of July and August is the hottest. And if you can stick that, so if you're thinking about coming out, doing a bit of research, I would come, obviously August is a good time to come out to Spain, because that's when it's going to be in its hottest. If you can't bear the heat in the 40s, that's not for you. The other side of it is, obviously, if you come about probably January, February, when it's sort of at its coldest, because it does get cold. And I've always banged on about, when you're buying property, make sure it's got central heating. Don't get a place that's got a log fire. That's not enough. Some people say it is. It's not. You need central heating for all the rooms, not just one room. Anyway, hope that's answered your question on the hots and colds of the climates here, John. Now, my last question is number 11. Come in late, this one, but I thought I'd fit it in. Affin. I've got it. I don't know what it is. Some name. Maybe I think it's a made-up name myself, but it's probably not. Is it? Hi, Sean. Do you still need to pay private medical insurance after gaining Spanish residency, or has Brexit changed all that now? Right. it depending on your, it's all going to be dependent. Brexit hasn't really changed it really. Obviously, when you become pension age, you can apply to, well, I'm taking it you're coming from the UK. Once you become pension age, you can apply for your S1, and your S1 will pay for your Spanish health system. Now, in some countries, they have to top it up, but from what I can see in Spain, you don't have to top it up, so your S1 will cover your Spanish health system. Now, obviously, once you become a resident, you should be able to apply for the Spanish health system as well. I think the last time I looked at it, it was €65 a month. So, yeah, the Brexit hasn't really changed the health cover side of it, really. It's obviously when you're applying for a visa where it gets complicated and you need a bit more money. So, I think it's Ethan, isn't it? I think that's right, Ethan. Anyway, hope you enjoyed that. That's this month's Q&A done. I'm sorry I can't answer a lot of those questions, because some of those questions are really for a professional person. Like I said at the beginning, the guy that I wanted to speak to, he's just been too busy, so I had to make this a bit later than usual. But anyway, as always, if you had some of those sort of questions yourself, please put them down below, because it does help out other people if you've gone through it yourself. Anyway, as always, if you've got any questions for April, please put them down below the video in the comment section, and I will answer them for April. Yeah, as always, guys, thank you much for watching. Most appreciate it. Have a great time. Do I need to say that? Nah, I don't really say that, do I? Because you're all top people. Anyway, adios amigos.